from the Red Book, Reader's Edition by C.G. Jung, pages 379 to 388. This is entitled The Gift of Magic, and Dr. Jung had this active imagination on January the 23rd, 1914, so approximately 6 months before the beginning of World War I, and about 6 weeks after he began his active imaginations for this project. And so here we go. The Gift of Magic. Soul. Do you not hear something? I. I'm not aware of anything. What should I hear? Soul. A ringing. I. A ringing? What? I hear nothing. Soul. Listen harder. I. Perhaps something on the left ear. What could it mean? Soul. Misfortune. I accept what you say. I want to have fortune and misfortune. Soul. Well then, raise your hands and receive what comes to you. I. What is it? A rod? A black serpent? A black rod formed like a serpent with 2 pearls as eyes, a gold bangle around its neck. Is it not like a magical rod? Soul. It is a magical rod. I. What should I do with magic? Is the magical rod a misfortune? Is magic a misfortune? Soul. Yes, for those who possess it. I. That sounds like the sayings of old. How strange you are, my soul. What should I do with magic? Magic will do a lot for you. I'm afraid that you're stirring up my desire and misunderstanding. You know that man never stops craving the black art and things that cost no effort. Soul. Magic is not easy and it demands a sacrifice. Does it demand the sacrifice of love, of humanity? If it does, take the rod back. Soul. Don't be rash. Magic doesn't demand that sacrifice. It demands another sacrifice. What sacrifice is that? Soul. The sacrifice that magic demands is solace. Solace? Do I understand correctly? Understanding you is unspeakably difficult. Tell me, what does this mean? Soul. Solace is to be sacrificed. What do you mean? Should the solace that I give or the solace that I receive be sacrificed? Soul. Both. I'm confused. This is too dark. Soul. You must sacrifice solace for the sake of the black rod, the solace you give and the solace you receive. Are you saying that I shouldn't be allowed to receive the solace of those I love and should give no solace to those I love? This means the loss of a piece of humanity, and what one calls severity toward oneself and others takes its place. Soul. That is how it is. Does the rod demand this sacrifice? Soul. It demands this sacrifice. Am I allowed to make this sacrifice for the sake of the rod? Must I accept the rod? Soul. Do you want to or not? I can't say. What do I know about the black rod? Who gives it to me? Soul. The darkness that lies before you. It is the next thing that comes to you. Will you accept it and offer it your sacrifice? It is hard to sacrifice in the dark to the blind darkness, and what a sacrifice. Soul. Does nature offer solace? Does it accept solace? You venture a heavy word. What solitude are you asking of me? This is your misfortune and the power of the black rod. How gloomily and full of how gloomily and full of foreboding you speak. Are you sheathing me in the armor? At this point, the text wants this image, so I'm going to give you the image. Okay, so here's the image. And are you sheathing me in the armor of icy severity? So here you see in this mandala a man that's being rolled over by basically a mandala on a bed of sharp stones, a man that's been crucified, a beef cow who's been slaughtered, and a tree that's been cut down. Are you sheathing me in the armor of icy severity? Are you clasping my heart with a bronze carapace? I'm happy with the warmth of life. Should I miss it for the sake of magic? What is magic? Soul, you don't know magic, so don't judge. What are you bristling at? Magic. What should I do with magic? I don't believe in it. I can't believe in it. My heart sinks, and I'm supposed to sacrifice a greater part of my humanity to magic. Soul, I advise you, don't struggle against this, and above all, don't act so enlightened, as if deep down you did not believe in magic. You're inexorable, but I can't believe in magic, or maybe I have a completely false idea of it. Soul, yes, I gather that from what you're saying. Cast aside your blind judgment and critical gesture. Otherwise, you'll never understand. Do you still mean to waste your years waiting? Be patient. My science has not yet been overcome. Soul, high time that you overcome it. You ask a great deal, almost too much. After all, is science essential to life? Is science life? There are people who live without science, but to overcome science for the sake of magic, that's uncanny and menacing. Are you afraid? Soul, are you afraid? Don't you want to risk life? Isn't it life that presents you with this problem? All this leaves me so dazed and confused. Won't you give me an enlightening word? Soul, oh, so it's solace you long for. Do you want the rod or don't you? Sorry, I have a hot tea with honey here in the hope that I can get through this 10 pages with my throat in the condition that it is. Let's see here. You tear my heart to pieces. I want to submit to life, but how difficult this is. I want the black rod because it is the first thing the darkness grants me. I don't know what this rod means, nor what it gives. I only feel what it takes. I want to kneel down and receive this messenger of darkness. I have received the black rod, and now I hold it, the enigmatic one, in my hand. It is cold and heavy, like iron. The pearl eyes of the serpent look at me blindly and dazzlingly. What do you want, mysterious gift? All the darkness of all former worlds crowds together in you, you hard, black piece of steel. Are you time and fate? The essence of nature, hard and eternally inconsolable, yet the sum of all mysterious creative force. Yet the sum of all mysterious creative force, primordial magic words seem to emanate from you. Mysterious effects weave around you. And what powerful arts slumber in you? You pierce me with unbearable tension. What grimaces will you make? What terrible mystery will you create? Will you bring bad weather, storms, cold, thunder, and lightning? Or will you make the fields fruitful and bless the bodies of pregnant women? What is the mark of your being? Or don't you need that, you son of the dark womb? Do you content yourself with the hazy darkness, whose concretion and crystal you are? What in my soul do I shelter you? Or where in my soul do I shelter you? In my heart? Should my heart be your shrine, your holy of holies? So choose your place. I have accepted you. What crushing tension you bring with you. Isn't the bow of my nerves breaking? I've taken in the messenger of the night. Soul, the most powerful magic lives in it. I feel it, and yet can't put into words the nightmarish power granted to it. I wanted to laugh because so much alters in laughter and resolves itself only there, but laughter dies in me. The magic of this rod is as solid as iron and as cold as death. Forgive me, my soul. I don't want to be impatient, but it seems to me that something has got to happen to break through this unbearable tension that came with the rod. Soul, wait, keep your eyes and ears open. I'm shuddering. I don't know why. Soul, sometimes you must shudder before the greatest. I bow my soul before unknown forces. I'd like to consecrate an altar to each unknown god. I must submit. The black iron in my heart gives me secret power. It's like defiance and like contempt for men. O dark act, violation, murder, abyss, give birth to the unredeemed. What is our Redeemer? Who our leader? Where are the ways through black wastes? God, do not abandon us. What are you summoning, God? Raise your hand up to the darkness above you. Pray, despair, wring your hands, kneel, press your forehead into the dust. Cry out, but do not name him. Do not look at him. Leave him without name and form. What should form the formless, name the nameless? Step onto the great way and grasp what is nearest. Do not look out, do not want, but lift up your hands. The gifts of darkness are full of riddles. The way is open to whomever can continue in spite of riddles. Submit to the riddles and the thoroughly incomprehensible. There are dizzying, and at this point there's another image. This is one of my favorite images in the Red Book. There are dizzying bridges over the eternally deep abyss, but follow the riddles. And just note in this image, we have a dragon and a star and a mandala in the center, and they're above the city. There's a city down below there. And there's also a man on the roof praying and holding his hands up to the abyss.
Oh.
Wait a minute. What?
So, earlier, if you can. I don't know what your plan is.
Yeah, that should do. Okay. Apologies.
What about 6:15?
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Apologies. Little administrative detail here. There are dizzying bridges over the eternally deep abyss, but follow the riddles. Endure them, the terrible ones. It is still dark, and the terrible goes on growing, lost and swallowed by the streams of procreating life. We approach the overpowering inhuman forces that are busily creating what is to come. How much future the depths carry. Are not the threads spun down there over millennia? Protect the riddles, bear them in your heart. Warm them, be pregnant with them, thus you carry the future. The tension of the future, and keep in mind the future is very shortly, 6 months away, World War I. The tension of the future is unbearable in us. It must break through narrow cracks. It must force new ways. We want to cast off the burden. You want to escape the inescapable. Running away is deception and detour. Shut your eyes so that you do not see the manifold, the outwardly plural, the tearing away and the tempting. There is only one way, and that is your way. There is only one salvation, and that is your salvation. Why are you looking around for help? Do you believe that help will come from outside? What is to come will be created in you and from you. Hence, look into yourself. Do not compare. Do not measure. No other way is like yours. All other ways deceive and tempt you. You must fulfill the way that is in you. Oh, that all men and all their ways become strange to you. Thus might you find them again within yourself and recognize their ways. But what weakness, what doubt, what fear. You will not bear going your way. You always want to have at least one foot on paths not your own to avoid the great solitude, so that maternal comfort is always with you, so that someone acknowledges you, recognizes you, bestows trust in you, comforts you, encourages you, so that someone pulls you over onto their path where you stray from yourself and where it is easier for you to set yourself aside. So if you were not yourself, who should accomplish your deeds? Who should carry your virtues and vices? You do not come to an end with your life, and the dead will besiege you terribly to live your unlived life. Everything must be fulfilled. Time is of the essence. So why do you want to pile up? The lived and let the unlived rot? Great is the power of the way. In it, heaven and hell grow together, and in it, the power of the below and the power of the above unite. The nature of the way is magical, as are supplication and invocation, malediction and deed are magical if they occur on the great way. Magic is the working of men on men, but your magic action does not affect your neighbor. It affects you first, and only if you withstand it does an invisible effect pass from you to your neighbor. There is more to it in the air than I ever thought. However, it cannot be grasped. Listen. And so his soul is asking him to listen to the warnings about World War I coming. And welcome to those of you who are listening live. I'll be back to you at the end here. Okay, then there are 3 verses, and I'll show you that after the second verse, there is another image which I'll share with you. at the appropriate moment. Above is powerful. The below is powerful. Twofold power is in the one. North, come hither. West, snuggle up. East, flow upward. South, spill over. Give you this next image. The winds in between bind the cross. The poles are united by the intermediate poles in between. Steps lead from above to below. Boiling water bubbles in cauldrons. Red-hot ash envelops the round floor. Night sinks blue and deep from above. Earth rises black from below. A solitary is cooking up healing potions. He makes offering to the four winds. He greets the stars and touches the earth. He holds something luminous in his hand. Now, all the following part of this is in italics. Flowers sprout around him, and the bliss of a new spring kisses all his limbs. Birds fly around, and the shy animals of the forest gaze at him. He is far from men, and yet the threads of their fate pass through his hands. May your intercession be meant for him, so that his medicine grows ripe and strong and brings healing to the deepest wounds. For your sake, he is solitary and waits alone between heaven and earth, for the earth to rise up to him and for the heaven to come down to him. All peoples are still far off and stand behind the wall of darkness, but I hear his words which reach me from afar. He has chosen a poor scribe, someone hard of hearing, who also stutters when he writes. I do not recognize him, the solitary. What is he saying? He says, I suffer fear and distress for the sake of man. I dug up old runes and magical sayings, for words never reach men. Words have become shadows. Therefore, I took old magical apparatuses and prepared hot potions and mixed in secret and ancient powers, things that even the cleverest would not guess at. I stewed the roots of all human thoughts and deeds. I watched over the cauldron through many starry nights. The brew ferments forever. I need your intercession, your kneeling, your desperation, and your patience. I need your ultimate and highest longing. I need your ultimate and highest longing, your purest willing, your most humble subjugation. Solitary, who are you waiting for? Solitary, who are you waiting for? Whose help do you require? There is none who can rush to your aid, since all look to you and wait for your healing arm. We are all utterly incapable and need help more than you. Grant us help so that we can help. Grant us help so that we can help you in return. The solitary speaks. Will no one stand by me in this need? Should I leave my work to help you so that you can help me again? But how should I help you if my brew has not grown ripe and strong? It was supposed to help you, but what do you hope from me? Come to us. Why are you standing there cooking up marbles? What can your healing magical potion do for us? Do you believe in healing potions? Look at life. Behold how much it needs you. Now there's another image. Look at life. Behold how much it needs you. The solitary speaks. Fools, can you not keep watch with me for an hour? Until the difficult and long-lasting achieves completion and the juice has ripened, just a little longer and fermentation will be complete. Why can't you wait? Why should your impatience destroy the highest opus? What highest opus? We are not alive. Cold and numbness have We are not alive. Cold and numbness have seized us. Your opus, solitary one, will not be finished for eons, even if it advances day after day. The work of salvation is endless. Why do you want to wait for the end of this work? Even if your waiting turned you into stone for endless ages, you could not endure until the end. And if your salvation came to its end, you would have to be saved from your salvation again. The solitary speaks. What smooth-tongued lamentation reaches my ears? What whining? What foolish doubters you are, unruly children. Persevere. It will be accomplished after this night. We will not wait a single night longer. We have persevered long enough. Are you a god? What 1,000 nights are as one to you? Are you a god that 1,000 nights are as one to you? For us, this one night would be like 1,000 nights. Abandon the work of salvation, and we will be saved. What stretch of ages are you saving us for? The solitary speaks. You embarrassing human swarm, you foolish bastard of God and cattle. I'm still lacking a piece of your precious flesh for my mixture. Am I truly your most valuable piece of meat? Is it worth my while to come to the boil for you? One let himself be nailed to the cross for you. One is truly enough. He blocks my way. Therefore, neither will I walk on his way, nor make you any healing brew or immortal blood potion. But rather I will abandon the potion and cauldron and occult work for your sake, since you can neither wait nor endure the fulfillment. I throw down your intercession, your genuflection, your invocations. You can save yourselves from both your lack of salvation and your salvation. Your worth rose quite high enough because one died for you. Now prove your worth by each living for himself. My God, how difficult it is to leave a work unfinished for the sake of men. But for the sake of men, I abstain from being a savior. Lo, now my potion has completed its fermentation. I did not mix a piece of myself into the drink, but I did slice a piece of humanity, and behold, it clarified the murky, foaming potion. And now there's another 3 verses. Get rid of this. So now there's another 3 verses here at the end of this page. And so, how sweet, how bitter it tastes. The below is weak, the above is weak. The form of the one becomes double. North, rise and be gone. West, retire to your place. East, spread yourself. South, die down. The winds in between loosen the crucified. Now, I'm not sure I have this. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that. I'm almost done. I'm going to bring up this next image. Okay, here's the image. Another of my favorites in this book. And then there are 3 more verses. The far poles are separated by the poles in between. The levels are broad ways, patient streets. The bubbling pot grows cold. The ash turns gray beneath its ground. Night covers the sky, and far below lies the black earth. Day approaches, and above the clouds a distant sun. No solitary cook heading, no solitary cooks, no solitary cooks healing potions. The four winds blow and laugh at their bounty, and he mocks the four winds. He has seen the stars and touched the earth. Therefore his hand clasps something luminous, and his shadow has grown to heaven. Still one more. A lot of images in this section of the Red Book. And this is the image that is at this point where it says, therefore his hand clasps something luminous, and his shadow has grown to heaven. The inexplicable occurs. You would very much like to forsake yourself and defect to each other, and defect to each and every manifold possibility. You would very much like to risk every crime in order to steal for yourself the mystery of the changeful, but the road is without end. Okay, so that's the end of the gift of magic. I'm going to just quickly go through the footnotes here. Get rid of this. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that very much. All right, so the text reads, this means the loss of a piece of humanity, and what one calls severity toward oneself and others takes its place. And the footnote reads, in Ecce Homo, Nietzsche wrote, every acquisition, every step forward in knowledge is the result of courage, of severity toward oneself, of cleanliness with respect to oneself. And then on page 381, the text reads, how gloomily and full of foreboding you speak. Are you sheathing me in the armor? And the footnote reads, I guess I better give you back that image. And of course, that's the one that I put away. So all right, let me bring it back up. Here it is. Okay, because this footnote relates to this image. Okay, so the footnote reads, inscription on top, Amor Triumphat, inscription at bottom. This image was completed on 9 January 1921, so 7 years after this reading. After it had waited incomplete for 9 months, it expresses I know not what kind of grief, a fourfold sacrifice. I could almost choose not to finish it. It is the inexorable wheel of the four functions, the essence of all living beings imbued with sacrifice. The functions are those of thinking, feeling, sensation, and intuition, which Jung wrote about in Psychological Types, 1921. On February 23, 1920, Jung noted in a Black Book 7, quote, what occurs between the lover and the beloved is the entire fullness of the Godhead. Both are unfathomable riddles to each other, for who understands the Godhead? But the God is born in solitude from the secret mystery of the individual. The separation between life and love is the contradiction between solitude and togetherness. The next entry in Black Book 7 is on September 5th, 1921. On March 4, 1920, Jung went to North Africa with his friend Herman Sieg, returning on April the 17th. Okay, so that completes that footnote. Okay. All right. So the text reads, "The black iron in my heart gives me secret power. It's like defiance and like contempt for men." And the footnote reads, "In Black Book 4, Jung noted, soul, tame your impatience. Only waiting will help you. Here, waiting? I know this word. Hercules also found waiting troublesome when he carried the weight of the world on his shoulders. Soul. He had to await Atlas's return and carried the weight of the world for the sake of the apples." The references to the 11th labor of Hercules, in which he has to get the golden apples which confer immortality. Atlas offered to get them for him if he held up the world in the interim. And then the text reads, "Are not the threads spun down there over millennia?" And the footnote reads, "In Greek mythology, the Moira, or three fates, Clotho, Lachesis, and Anthropos, spun and controlled the threads of human life. In Norse mythology, the Norns spun the threads of fate at the foot of Yggdrasil, the world tree." The text reads, I'm on page 384, "Great is the power of the way." And the footnote reads, the draft continues, "The power of the way is so great that it carries away others and ignites them. You do not know how this happens. Hence, it is best you call this effect magical." Now, I would just observe that this is the magic of a psychic epidemic, which Dr. Jung is about to experience because he's feeling the tensions and pressures that are going on in the collective unconscious across Europe pre-World War I. And so he's feeling this these passions that are being stirred up. The text reads, "The nature of the way is magical, as are supplication and invocation." And the footnote reads, the draft continues, "which is represented as a serpent precisely on account of its particular nature." And then the text of the poem reads, "Red hot ash envelops the round fire." I'm sorry, "Red hot ash envelops the round floor." And the footnote reads, "This appears to refer to the magical circle in which ritual acts are performed." And the text reads, the solitary speaks, "Fools, can you not keep watch with me for an hour until the difficult and long-lasting achieves completion and the juice has ripened?" And the footnote reads, in Matthew 24:40, Christ rebukes his disciples for having been unable to remain awake for an hour while he prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane. The text reads, "Therefore neither will I walk on his way nor make for you any healing brew or immortal blood potion." And the footnote reads, Jung's marginal note to the calligraphic volume, November 29th, 1922. This appears to refer to when this passage was transcribed. And at the end of the verse, which has at the end of it image 135, so let me give you that. I think I still have it on my screen, but maybe not. Okay, let me grab it again. Okay, so we're talking about image 135 here. East spread yourself, south lie down. The winds in between loosen the crucified. And the footnote reads, inscription completed on 25 November 1922. The fire comes out of Muspelli and grasps the tree of life. A cycle is completed, but it is the cycle within the world egg. A strange god, the unnameable god of the solitary, is incubating it. New creatures form the smoke and ashes. In Norse mythology, Muspelli, or Muspelheim, is the abode of the fire gods. And that's it, because the next footnote relates to the next chapter, which is called The Way of the Cross. So I have now completed the gift of magic for what it's worth. Let me quickly look at your comments. Glad you're here, Leonardo. Blessed cursor, profound synchronicity. I just hears those quotes for the first time yesterday. Leonard says, amazing, blessed cursor. I hope that those words can guide you further. Thank you. And Leonard says, thank you, good sir, for doing this. We're deeply grateful. You're quite welcome, Leonard. And thank you very much for your gift, Carl. Those gifts are much appreciated because unlike what people may think about having a YouTube channel, it really doesn't pay very much unless you have some other way of getting income. So just to give you an order of magnitude, what YouTube pays me for doing this is with about 1,100 videos on this YouTube channel, they pay me about $60 to $70 a month, depending upon their whim. So it's not a princely salary by any means. And you can understand why some people are sort of not very happy about the payouts by YouTube, because they're obviously making a lot of money. So anyway, I must excuse myself because my wife broke in on us to make me promise that I would get offline. So at least I got the gift of magic complete, and I look forward to reading The Way of the Cross maybe tomorrow, I hope. So thank you for joining me tonight, and I'll be back again as soon as I can, hopefully tomorrow. See you soon. Bye.